Imagine yourself in a vast ocean, with imposing waves rising before you. Now, envision yourself diminishing, shrinking in the expanse of that sea, while the waves increase in magnitude, shining in all their majesty. Just like this hypnotic scenario, life invites us to decrease so that God can increase within us. But what does this really mean? It is natural that, in our spiritual and personal journey, we encounter the need to diminish ourselves in relation to the divine. It means surrendering to the greatness and wisdom of God, acknowledging that our own efforts are limited, while His presence and power are limitless. By allowing God to increase in our lives, we make room for His grace, love, and divine guidance. We detach ourselves from egocentric concerns, and the desire for control, surrendering to trust and faith in God's will. This frees us from the burden of self-sufficiency, allowing us to experience a peace and fullness that can only come from encountering the divine. But how exactly can we decrease so that God can increase within us? What aspects of our lives need to be transformed for this dynamic to establish itself genuinely and profoundly? One of the first steps is humility. Recognizing our own smallness in the face of God's greatness is essential to open space in our hearts and minds. This involves accepting that we don't have all the answers, that we make mistakes, and that we are in constant learning. By humbling ourselves before God, we allow His wisdom and guidance to permeate our lives. Furthermore, surrender is crucial. It means handing over our wants and desires to God's care, trusting that He knows what is best for us even when we don't understand. This is not an act of passive resignation but an act of trust and an attitude of seeking alignment with higher purposes. Similarly, the pursuit of material and emotional detachment assists us in this process. By letting go of the ties of ego and the material world, we make room for God to be the center of our lives. This doesn't necessarily mean abandoning all our material possessions but cultivating a healthy and balanced relationship with them, recognizing that they are means and not ends in themselves. Throughout this journey, we need to constantly reflect and question ourselves. What am I prioritizing in my life? Am I seeking divine values, or am I solely focused on earthly goals? Am I serving a higher purpose, or am I trapped in the snare of selfishness and self-promotion? These questions are essential to keep us conscious and in constant pursuit of alignment with the divine will. They help us check whether we are truly allowing God to increase within us and if we are willing to decrease for the sake of this profound transformation. As we continue on this journey of weakening the ego and exalting God in our lives, we experience an expansion of consciousness, compassion, and love. We allow divine virtues to manifest in us and through us, impacting not only our lives but also the lives of those around us. Contemplating these principles, it's worth reflecting, how can I apply the dynamic of, I must decrease so that God may increase, in my daily life? What practical actions can I take to strengthen this spiritual longing in my everyday routine? Seeking answers to these questions leads us to a process of self-discovery, inner transformation, and deeper spiritual experience. It's a quest that has no end but guides us on a journey of encountering the sacred, where we are invited to decrease so that God may increase in us. May this constant pursuit of exalting God in our lives, weakening the ego, and strengthening faith guide us in all aspects of our existence. As we reflect on decreasing to let God increase, we are challenged to adopt a stance of courage and determination. Instead of seeing diminishing as weakness, we should understand it as an act of spiritual strength. It is the courage to let go of illusory control, to face our fears and insecurities, and to fully trust in the hands of a God who loves us unconditionally. This determination leads us to actively seek ways to strengthen our connection with the divine. The practice of prayer, meditation, and studying sacred scriptures becomes vital on this journey. We aim to nurture our spirituality and develop an elevated awareness that allows us to recognize God's presence and will in every aspect of our lives. The increase of God within us also manifests in the spreading of love and compassion. When we empty ourselves of selfishness and pride, we create space for divine love to flow towards others. We begin to see humanity with compassionate eyes and act for the collective well-being, spreading light and inspiration amidst the shadows of the world. This determination leads to an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of truth and justice. We stand in defense of what is right, ethical, and moral, fighting against injustices and oppressions that plague society. We become agents of transformation, striving to build a more harmonious and compassionate world in harmony with the divine will. And how does all of this manifest in the practicalities of everyday life? It means being a beacon of hope for those who are discouraged, a friendly shoulder for those who suffer, and a voice of wisdom for those seeking guidance. It means living each moment with awareness and purpose, recognizing that we are instruments in the hands of God for the manifestation of His will. This determination propels us to seek excellence in everything we do. Whether at work, in relationships, or in our passions and callings, we strive to infuse every action with the divine essence. We aim to inspire others through our talents and abilities, always remembering that all we are and have is a divine gift to be shared with the world. Moreover, this determination encourages us to face challenges with unwavering faith. When we allow ourselves to decrease before God, we find unparalleled strength to overcome obstacles and adversities. We view each challenge as an opportunity for spiritual growth and remain resilient in the face of life's trials, trusting that God will always be by our side. And what about the joy and gratitude that overflow in our hearts when we allow God to increase within us? We discover an inexhaustible source of happiness in the presence of the divine, even amidst the most challenging circumstances. Joy becomes our compass, and gratitude is the language that permeates every thought, word, and action, acknowledging God's generosity and kindness in our lives. In the face of the challenge to decrease, we find the motivation and determination to live an authentic, meaningful, and transcendently divine life. Amidst each step of this journey, we are reminded that we are not alone, that our decrease is, in reality, an expansion beyond ourselves, towards a deeper encounter with the presence and love of God. In the midst of profound reflection, we are prompted to recall the words of Psalm 139 verses 23 to 24, "Search me, O God, and know my heart, test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting." This biblical passage invites us to open our hearts before God, allowing Him to reveal in us the true essence of the divine purpose. So, in a spirit of humility and surrender, I invite all of us to join together in prayer. Dear God, in this moment of communion with you, we humbly acknowledge the grandeur of your presence and the unconditional love you offer us. Faced with the challenge of decreasing so that you may increase, we know that we cannot achieve this transformation on our own. Instead, we trust in your grace and wisdom to guide our steps. Grant us, loving Father, the understanding and courage necessary to empty ourselves of ego and fully embrace your will. Help us find strength in the act of decreasing, as we understand that through it, we allow your presence to increase in our lives. May our humility be the fertile ground where your light can flourish and shine beyond ourselves. May, in every action, thought, and feeling, we reflect your grace and love. May our lives be a living testimony of the transformation that occurs when we surrender to your will. Empower us, O God, to be channels of your peace, compassion, and kindness, manifesting your love in our interactions with the world. We also ask that you grant us wisdom and discernment to recognize the opportunities for decrease in our daily journey. May we have the courage to abandon selfishness and adopt a posture of surrender and trust in you. May each challenge be an opportunity to draw closer to you and glorify your name through our conduct. We express gratitude for your constant presence in our lives. We thank you for the opportunity to grow, learn, and transform according to your will. May we, each day, draw closer to you, allowing your grace to govern our hearts and actions. Amen. May we all embrace the journey of decrease in favor of the exaltation of God in our lives. May our actions be living manifestations of this principle, inspiring and transforming those around us. May the humility, determination, and motivation that arise from this practice guide us to a life full of meaning, purpose, and connection with the divine. May each of us find in the daily practice of this spiritual calling the strength to face challenges, the peace to overcome tribulations, and the joy to celebrate God's presence in every moment of our lives. And so, at the end of this reflection, I invite each of you to join us in this purpose. If this message resonated with your heart, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, share this content, and especially, leave a comment with your reflections and experiences. Sharing God's teachings is an act of charity that amplifies the divine light and love throughout the world.